Barry Maranta to make a presentation. Barry, interestingly enough, around Christmas time this year, I was just mooching around the house doing nothing, and I haven't cleaned out my my bookcase for some time with books, and I was reading one of the old books that I haven't read in about 25 years. It was Adrian McGregor's biography of Greg Chappell, authorised biography. Great book. I was reading it, and it reminded me of the old times because I know how much you've had to do with Greg and still have to do with Greg. So I got to the front of it, and in this very neat handwriting, it says, "I consider myself fortunate to have met a few people who have had a big influence on my life. Your friendship, guidance and assistance has been invaluable in both my cricket and business careers. Without it, much of what is chronicled in here, and sorry, I just can't read with my eyes, would not have been possible. Thank you again for all that you have done for me." Signed, Greg Chappell, 11 October 1985. I thought, shit, I only played 2 or 3 games with the bloke. I wonder how it had such an effect on him. And then I see it's to Barry. I think I've had this book for 27 years at my place. I can't remember when you left it at my place. And certainly there'll be no fee for keeping it for you. But here it is as a presentation, and as club patron, I'd like you to come up and toast the University of Queensland Cricket Club.
I'm going to be stupid enough to make a few comments about Andrew. I'm so delighted that I've now got this book back.
Have you been looking for it?
Andrew suffers from kleptomania, and he's exhibited it by living at our place from time to time, and his great trick is just to, in the old days when we had things on clotheslines, he'd sort of emerge from the annex where he and Michael somehow did what they did day in, day out, and night in, night out, and he'd just grab whatever shirt fitted him or whatever he liked, and I'd go out to uni to do some training or practice, and there'd be Andrew with a shirt, and I'd say, "Yeah, that looks pretty smart," and he'd say, "Yeah, it should be, it's yours." So, but his big effort was, in those days, Lynn was, like a lot of ladies, was pretty active in the Benson and Hedges stakes, and used to have in the pantry great cartons of Benson and Hedges, and whenever Andrew was over, we'd find these little notes with an IOU saying, "Thanks, Mrs. M," and then another carton would be missing. So anyway, that's not the point of this particular exercise. When Andrew asked me to do this, I just thought how must be the most simple task one can have tonight, and that is to invite you to share a drink with me, because that's what a toast is. And I thought we've had 50 years of practicing sharing a toast with one another, so I don't think at the end of this it should be too difficult for us to spend the time to pay our tribute to what has been 100 years of quite considerable achievements. The club itself, or the fact that you're here, is your own silent toast to the last 100 years of this club. I think a lot of us can claim that we know something about sporting clubs in one form or another. There's something about this club, however, that I would contend is quite different. No matter what our experiences are, in whether it be in the field of football or tennis or any other activity or sporting activity, the one thing that this club has got is not just the avocation of cricket, which in itself is a binding factor, but it's also got the vocational aspect, because most of us, in some way or other, staggered through St Lucia or one of the universities and crept out the other side with a piece of paper, which took us into the hallways of professional and corporate life. And we look around here tonight, and there are some of the most capable and accomplished professionals and commercial people in this country. So we have both the vocational and the avocational aspect. And the reflections that we've had in the course of the night leads me to really focus on the fact that University Cricket Club, inspired as it has been by the Clems and the Weps, the Cams and all the others, is really not a Saturday afternoon club. What's kept the older people here, and I'll say this so that the younger people might gain something from this, is the fact that we've shared our relationships beyond a Saturday afternoon. If it was intervarsities, then the intervarsity itself gives to us a level of involvement that has carried through to this time. And I would think the younger generation should look very closely at trying to reinvigorate an intervarsity competition, which doesn't necessarily just involve the first 11, but others as well. They become very critical parts of your life's activities. The idea that University Old Boys has developed this wonderful set of achievements, and you've got the Keith Jenningses of the world who are driving forces in that. That creates another dimension to this club, which my belief is separates it from the other sporting bodies that we've all had some association with. And then there was the Paul Johnson, Don McNee exercise, which lured a group of university players and families out to Gundawindi or Warwick or somewhere playing the Izings or playing the Gundawindi people, which for 10 or 15 years involved us in more than just the Saturday afternoon. I would really recommend to the young people, so that you can enjoy, or at least in some way emulate what us older people have got out of this, is to reflect very seriously on what the University Cricket Club has created over the last 100 years, the various dimensions that that has emerged from that creation, and to embrace that, because I will tell you now, you'll get more out of it than you put in. I'd like you now, if you could, just to charge your glasses, and I'll invite you, not for the first time, for 50 years I've been inviting you to share a drink with me. Could you do that now, on behalf of all? And we all drink to the 100 years, the centenary of this marvellous club, the University Cricket Club.
Thanks very much, Barry. That was great. Take your book. I don't want to hang on for another 25 years. Have you been looking for that book? Yeah, I thought you might have.